Hello, welcome back to Actual Play. Apocalypse Geese. We just forced the Scion of the Void, or rather, Celine forced the Scion of the Void. Let's be real about that. Back into the rift, and then the rift was closed by the Guardians, and now we're flying back in a helicopter to the base to find out what the heck's going on. Where's the missing pilot? All that jazz. Yeah, and also who was this other Celine?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So before we came back on break, we said that Civ and Ember are sitting uncomfortably close to in this awkward way
Yeah.
next to each other.
If it's possible, I'd love the idea that Ember is closer to the outside and Civ is sitting in the middle. For balance, weight purposes,
Yep.
because you're so heavy,
hmm
and you keep looking disdainfully at what Ember thinks is her, but what it's actually is that tentacle that she tossed that's outside, that's like over there, and so Ember keeps
Yeah.
looking over and see this looking of like mild disdain. I don't know. It doesn't seem like
I
Civ would
don't
be like
yeah,
Superman.
I don't super emote,
Yeah.
so it might be curiosity, it might
Okay.
be concern, but if you could totally read it as disdain. Yes.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's so blank you could read anything on it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
My
Okay.
face is literally made of stone.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, you notice that the tentacle, where it was thrown over, it's this huge area that's filled with different pits of like acid and tar and ooze, and you can see huge like some of them are like just bleached bones, but some of them are like in various states of decay. And you realize that it's the rift monsters that came through that they weren't able to push back inside. Who like, you know,
Oh, that they
yeah. So
defeated
they're
on the island. Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like it's a monster graveyard basically. But
Perfect.
and
Mhm.
now
That's
there's
doing
a
exactly
tentacle
where I needed
hanging.
to go. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, to make you feel better.
This is fine. It's okay. It'll be okay. Don't worry about it. Like,
But you do notice like I don't know, maybe Ember's a little too busy wondering about the look, so maybe it's Civ who notices. Civ, like, you can judge like based on like the erosion of time. I also imagine you saw a lot of erosion like underneath the water, like from
Yeah.
your perspective. uh you have a feeling that as you're looking at it, the older the remains are, the smaller they are. So it looks like the rift monsters are getting bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
Like this
yeah.
tentacle thing is ridiculous compared to like
Interesting.
a few monsters ago, basically.
And I think like after like a long moment of me staring out and Ember, you assuming that I am feeling disdain towards you.
Yeah.
I think I sort of, it's not quite a blurt, but it's very like I don't think I do like conversational transition at all. It's just how does your family know this monster? It it was thinking about someone on a throne with burning hair and gigantic wings. I think she sent it here.
And I think the moment Ember has just been like staring at you. She's just been like looking at you like wait,
Yeah,
and I think you've been like looking past her at the monster, but she
yeah.
can't tell. And so the moment she realizes that like you're not gonna say, I hate you and I never want to see you again, she's just like, oh. Like her
Yeah.
shell cracks for just a second.
oh,
And then she's
Ember.
like, my mother, the queen of the queen of the realm of coal, the ruler of the obsidian throne. This creature came to her many years ago, seeking a place in our court, and she banished it. She said it was not worthy. Perhaps now the
And
sign of the void has become her tool, or perhaps it revealed itself to be worthy of her power.
I think she gave it power, and that's how it came through the rift.
So Jamie, what happens when someone who's summoned from another plane of existence, where they're supposed to like be the eventual like ruler of some hellscape, wants to like, I don't know, commune back to that plane and like ask mom a question? Is that
How do
is
I
that
call up my demon mom? Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
yeah, is calling up demon mom a thing?
It is totally a thing. We can totally make it a thing, no problem. Be the monster is probably the easiest way for us to do it.
That
you can
feels right
describe
to
to me, yeah, like how you connect to your power, how it leads you there. We can totally do that, no problem.
I love it. I love it. Um, so if I was a if I was a smart person who did not think like everything was as like urgent and needs to yes, Luke says, Sean, please roll the gaze in the abyss. That is exactly what I'm about to do. So if I was smart, I would not try something that might say, I don't know, cause me to spontaneously combust on a helicopter, but I'm not. So I think I'll turn or not turn to you. I'm definitely looking straight at you, Siv, and I say I should ask her, shouldn't I? I should ask her why she sent this creature here, what plans she has. I should return to the throne and face her and her many eyes. And she's looking to you for like confirmation that this is the right move.
Mm-hmm. And I think it takes me like a hot second to like pick up on that because it didn't sound like you were asking a question, and you usually don't ask questions. You usually declare.
Mm-hmm.
So I just I
Even
think
when I ask you a question, it sounds like a declarative.
exactly. So I think at first I'm just like, and then eventually, yeah, I nod like, yeah, can you do that?
I will do this. And yeah, I think like flames just start like I think flames start like peeling out of the outside of her eyelids until the point where like there's like a fan of flame around her eyes, and then like the way like a backdraft works, you know, where like it sucks in like and that like her eyes just go black. And I would like to do that thing where you be the monster.
Exactly. So how many darkness tokens do you want to invest?
Hold on a second. Let me, gosh, I'm so clumsy today. I've been pulling up the wrong sheet. Okay. I first want to see something. I don't think I'm overreacting with violence, although I might. So right now I have 3 darkness tokens. Yeah, I kind of want to blow the helicopter up on accident. Ember doesn't want that at all, but Sean thinks it'd be really cool if communing with mom accidentally caused her to ignite and blow up the helicopter. So I'm going to spend 3 darkness tokens and roll +3. Does that sound right?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
All right.
One of them is made out of stone and the other one is like, you know, an angel. It's fine.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Well, and I'm sure Commander Payne is fine too. Like I'm not actually worried for anyone's health. I just think blowing up helicopters is not good form, but here we go.
I was gonna say, if it makes you feel any better, normally people would go away from fire, but I think actually the fire of your eyes, I kind of lean in just an imperceptible amount.
Oh my God, I love that. I think I catch that just as everything goes black for me. So I'm
nice.
Like, there's like this internal question of like, did they just lean forward?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I got a 6, which +3 is a 9. So
still in that sweet spot.
I know. Wow, we just keep hitting it. We're doing right.
Oh,
am I Dallas Dice Roller? Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. It'll be fixed on the next roll.
No worries. But yeah, so on an 8 to 10, you and the monster act as one, and you do it. So, what does it look like when you connect towards this other dimension as the fire? I kind of still like the idea of the fire enveloping everybody, but I kind of like the idea like the helicopter froze in air and the fire expanded in this like slow-mo. What's his name? Half of his movie is always in slow motion. Watchmen. I forgot. Zack Snyder. So like in this kind of like overly, you know, like it's overly indulgent slow-mo flame kind of situation as you burn your way towards the other dimension. That's just the idea I have, but what else happens as you connect?
I will 100% buy it. I think when Vision returns, Ember is staring at this obsidian pillar in front of her, and then she looks, and the camera does that thing where it just looks like impossibly high, right? Like it's just like she just keeps looking up for ages, and finally at the top she sees her mother at the very top of this throne. It's like, hundreds of feet tall or
We
whatnot.
got a drone for this cinematic shot, BT dubs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Flew
right.
all the way
Yeah.
up.
We've got a drone cam for whenever it's mom POV, but for Ember POV, it's just like it's so far up there, and yet you can still see her perfectly, and all of her eyes and her fell wings. And I say, Mother, my time has not expired yet. Why do you send this creature to the realm which I visit? It is under my protection.
And you hear this voice, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did I send it to the one that you're in, darling?"
You know where I am, Mother. Do not chide me. And like a blade just appears, and she just cracks it against the obsidian pillar, but it shatters. Like it's completely ineffectual, but it doesn't matter. It's like a tantrum moment, and she just like shatters this blade against this throne, just in like such like rage. Like she knew. I'm gonna take.
Are you overreacting with violence?
I am overreacting with violence. Yes.
And as the blade shatters, you hear this like, you think it's a sound of the blade, but you realize the cracking, tinkling sound is her laugh. And she says, "Oh, I apologize, dear. I didn't mean to rush you or upset you. I just have plans of my own. Not everything is about you, darling."
She breathes in and her hair extends. It's like air comes into her nostrils. Her hair flames a little bit more, and she says, "Mother, this realm is under my protection while I'm there. I forbid you. You must rescind your fell powers."
And she sighs, "Well, what am I going to do? You haven't done enough to prepare that world of yours. It's all very terrible. It's pristine, and lots of people are. There are some disasters, but there aren't enough. There are too many of those humans alive, for one thing. Billions of them.
Those humans are under my protection.
Oh, were they part of it?" And she has this like disgusted look in her face, like she's talking about vermin.
What do you want, Mother? Why do you harry me?
"Well, darling," and she crooks a finger towards you, and there's an effortless way that she can use her power, and you know that it's just a lick of it, and she lifts you up. The heat moves you closer to her, and she says, "Well, I could be convinced to be more patient if you gave me something."
Suddenly there's the pommel of a blade in her hand, and as she holds it and squeezes it, the blade is just like turning white hot. This is just like her frustration and anger as she's talking to her blades. Like, "I ask again, Mother, what is it that you want? Stop playing games with me. You know I always lose them. The dice are never in my favor. I think that you cheat." Like this like cuts back to like board game night with like the family. I don't know, but in hell, right?
Right. And then she pouts and she says, "Oh, of course I'm not important to you. I just birthed you, took care of you for all these years, groomed you into the warrior that you are now with all your strength that came directly from me. But what do I know? I'm just your mother."
I am not besmirching. I'm not besmirching you or taking for granted all of the good, all of the things that you've done for me. I just don't play this game very well. I can tell you want a thing, but you're not saying that thing. And that frustrates me very much, which you know, and then you do it again.
And she says, "There's something I want in the outpost, something that belongs to me. One of my favorite monsters left me. And unfortunately, they died protecting one of those humans, but a part of them still lives. I want you to get it for me. If you promise me this, I'll leave you alone."
There is no promise that would keep you at my bay for long enough, Mother. Keep you at bay for long enough. which of these monsters did you lose to my world?
Oh, I didn't really give it a name before I unleashed it upon the world, but it was connected to what's the name of that child? Fletcher? Something along those lines.
Hmm. And did she say it had something that she wanted, or she wanted it to return? Was it like, did it have a possession?
Yeah, like it's the last of it, like the monster died, but she's telling you that she wants something that survived of it.
Okay. Yeah, pledging, like making promises to my mom is like a really bad idea. I feel like every time I've done it, it's like turned out real bad. And so I think I say, I shall return to you when I have found this lost this lost creature, and let you know my decision then.
All right. I suppose that'll have to be good enough. Now, dear, give your mother a kiss. And she like puts over and like the eyes open up for a moment on the cheek and then close back again.
Nice. Yeah, and I think it's a butterfly kiss, right? Like I think that we kiss with our eyes, and so I kind of reach in and like my as my like lashes like touch hers, I like flinch in pain as the like it's like an electric shock, and that's what brings Ember back
And then there's
to the
this
realm.
soft sound in your mind as she says, "Such a pity that you choose to be so powerless."
Yeah, and I think we see Ember feeling that, and I think Civ picks that up as well. I think Civ hears that through like Service thoughts coming through, just because that's his Ember. Everything else,
Perfect.
Ember was like gone. Like
Yeah.
while she was gone, like there was nothing there. It was like she was an empty husk. No feelings, no memories, no thoughts. But that you sense just as she sort of snaps back.
Neat.
Yeah, and I think there's this moment where the seat around you is like slightly scorched, but everything
Mhm.
else looks okay.
Yep.
And the commander, um, surprisingly, he seems pretty okay with it. You have a feeling he puts up with a lot from the teens,
I was gonna say
unfortunately.
Ember's just got to be like one of his impetuous teens, running off all half cocked, and yeah.
And he nods and he says, "Is everything all right? Do you need to see one of the psychics or psionics to help you with something?"
I am um, the bale force of my mother is not one to be tended to, not one to be taken lightly. But I will survive. It is your very fragile existence that is in danger.
Right,
And
right.
she's definitely like saying that about him, but also just like the world in general, just like the whole this world.
And you can see like he goes, I feel like Arctis did not quite get the point across in those notes, but yes, yes.
Right.
Uh,
And I think Ember will sort of, just because I've had this sort of spotlight time, I think Ember will sort of like shrink into herself a little bit in like quiet thought of like what to do about her mother. But I'm also happy to say that she will like reveal that at some point. So if anyone wants to work off that knowledge, Ember will say it, of course, in a very dramatic way. But
Absolutely. Very cool. Yeah, and then so as the helicopter comes closer, it looks like you're flying towards the side of another mountain that's nearby the volcano, like a little too close. And then that's when you realize it's a mirage of some kind. It breaks apart around the helicopter, and you can hear the chanting sound of the several prayers, the spell tech that's keeping all of this up. You can hear the drone, the chanting. It's like a mix of like what you can hear in a Buddhist temple, but also Latin. Like it's all just mixing together, droning on and hitting the same resonance. And as the outpost opens up to you, it's huge. As the helicopter comes to land, you can see there are thousands of people here just milling about, all over the place. When you land, there's a lot of security. You can tell, like, especially because of what recently happened with the Rift monster coming through for a moment. But the commander waves them away, insisting that you're division agents and there isn't a problem. And as you move through the outpost, you can see that there's this huge hangar bay. The Halima have finally started to like come back in, and you can see like as they once again, our struggle bus is having a hard time. Like they're still like struggling. They're like trying to break through the frame, right? And then you can see like there's several technicians and there's several priests and priestesses like surrounding the monster, helping them calm down. The other two are having an easier time. There are these huge vats of orange amber liquid, and the monsters are like starting to submerge in them, and you can see like the monsters are starting to fall asleep, except for Apostle Solar. Like they're struggling against the waters a little bit, and you can see like behind the neck, there's this huge mechanism that comes in and it pulls out where the pilot is. It's this huge capsule where each teen is, and it pulls it out, places it, the teen comes out. They're also surrounded in some sort of liquid, but they step out. When Apostle Solar, like it struggles, like it tries to grab the capsule and force the pilot back in for a moment. And people are really panicking for a second. I'm going to say, Siv, you're picking this up because the Halima is screeching its thoughts, right? Yeah. And you can hear the Halima is like, no, must protect, must. Like it's still in this fight or flight mode. Like it doesn't think it's safe, and it doesn't think that the pilot's safe if it's going to let them out. You can hear the pilot like, no, it's okay, just please.
Is there a way that I can say we will protect them? Like, it's cool, bro. Like, calm down.
I do have a special custom move for this mystery if you want to psychically connect to a Halima.
I would love to. There's no way that can go wrong.
I mean, I think you made that move.
I did. Yeah. I did it for anybody who wants to connect to the idea is that it's only these special teens who can connect, but any other monster can try to connect to the Halimas. Like it just takes a special kind of human to do it. But I'd say especially Civ should be able to do it. So it's under situational moves. The move, if you scroll down, it's called Hello Little Monster. So when you attempt to connect psychically to a Halima, say what vulnerable memory you offer to them and roll plus darkness. But I will say, if you want to use your other main move, like you can't hide your heart from me, that could also work.
Yeah. No, I want to use this one. What vulnerable memory do I offer to them? I think it's actually a pair of memories, right? It's the memory of when I first woke up under the water. And I was all alone and no one was there, and it was pretty bad. And then the sort of memory that I follow up with that is when the division pulled me out of the water, right? Lights came down, lights, I'd not seen lights before, right? And I came up to the surface and people asked me if I was okay. And I felt sort of like a bonding then, right? And so I'm trying to offer up this feeling of like, you're not alone. We're going to protect them. It's cool. And I have 2, so I'm going to use both of those. Darkness. And I rolled a 3, so I got a 5.
Okay, so
feels appropriate, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh, okay. So I'm just reading it out loud. Okay, I'll read this first. Because I was so spoiled, everybody hitting 8 to 10 all the time.
Well, you're welcome.
But wait, you rolled a total of 5, is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. You could burn 3 bonds. It would take a lot to get you up there. But anyway, so let's talk about what the 7 minus is first. You're about to connect to the Halima and see tantalizing visions, but then sirens go off and the entire facility goes into lockdown. The keeper will tell you what happens next. I love Sarita's face.
That
I mean, Morgan's face.
What?
So, but I'm going to give you the option. Do you want to try to burn through 3 bonds to at least, pull it back up, or are you cool with things, going off the rails? It could also be fun.
They're both good options is the problem, right? Because it's dramatic and interesting if I let the alarms go off and do that. But also like I don't want to make like a bad first impression. So
Yeah, we can say that it's less about you making a bad first impression and more like Apostle Solar is just really, really like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't know me yet, right? So I can say, hey, I'm going to protect your human, and it's like, cool, I have no idea who you are.
It could be seen as a threat that it needs to.
Oh,
it needs to protect
yeah,
against.
interesting.
And
Yeah, let's do that. That's cool.
Jamie, question about the way bonds work. Do other people who have bonds with Civ spend those bonds, or does Civ spend the bonds that they have with other people to get the bonus, or both?
Yeah, good question. So it's Civ will spend the bonds,
Okay.
but you can also use the move Reach for the Light to like give a +1 if you roll well on it. So theoretically, like each of you could like roll to like help and then give a +1 based on that. But yeah, normally it's Civ would burn, but you can burn as many as you like. Like if you want to burn like 5, 6, you can do that. It's happened before. We had someone roll a 2. So and they just burned their way up to an 8.
Yeah, I'm tempted. I think I am actually going to do that because I'm going to burn one with Fletcher, one with Ember, and one with Celine.
Yeah, what does that look like? Like, is it your memories of them that's helping Halima calm down?
I think so, but I think also the sort of side effect is that Ember and Celine and Fletcher are also seeing these memories, and I think it makes me seem less sort of relatable, right? More sort of alien.
Oh, I love that. That's so perfect. Super good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Pull us into your psychic maelstrom.
Oh, so nice. Yeah. So there's this moment where for everybody else where it feels like you're the ones underwater, the lights are coming through, like it's like through the darkness, these huge lights.
I love that we would all see Celine because Celine was the one who rescued Ember. And so Celine, that means you're seeing yourself again, but this time you're seeing your you self instead of the other self. Like,
I think, Celine is very caught off guard. Like, what is going on?
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you could, if you want to say you're feeling overwhelmed by the memory, Celine, you can do that too. Grab a token at least, 2 tokens at least if you like.
I'm gonna do that. It's very overwhelming to see myself in a memory.
Yeah. See,
especially
without asking about said memory.
Mm-hmm.
Am I asking the Halima to open its emotions to me?
Yeah. Do you think so? I think so. I definitely think so. Yeah.
I'm trying to make it feel safe, right?
Yeah. I feel like that's definitely the case here. Okay, and then so you hit an 8 to 10. You drift into the consciousness of the Halimau. Your memories become one for a moment. What you see of the Halimau and Apostle Solar's memories is how terrified they were when they first came through the rift. Like the world was so painful. It was so bright. It felt so wrong. But there was this sense of like, no, but there's someone here in this world that I came through for. Like you can tell like that's what brought them through. And then you see the memory of them connecting to their pilot for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the very young face of the pilot, of Asteria Romano, reaching out towards this huge colossal monster, like because it's the scariest looking one, right? We said like lizard and spider mixed together, like the spider legs and the lizard skin and the huge eyes. But Asteria just like places a hand. It's so tiny, this tiny hand of this colossal cheek, right? And he just smiles and he says, "Together we're going to protect the world." And you see that moment where they really connect, and how they're really struggling to stay connected the whole time. You can tell that Apostle feels like it's their fault that they're not able to perform well.
Yeah,
Uh,
the link.
Yeah. And so it's a lot of people are blaming the pilot, but the Halima thinks it's their fault, right? So
Hmm.
it's a thing that's going back and forth. So as part of the move, you get to choose two. No one got a condition, so you don't have to use, because everyone's been doing really well. So
Mhm.
but you have the other two which you can take. They open their heart to you and you can take a bond with them, and they can reveal a truth to you, ask any
Yep.
one question. You don't have a key of apocalypse yet, but I could say like you get one from this moment, like you could get your first clue.
Yeah, that would be neat. And I am super into having a bond with this giant, scary looking monster.
Right. And then so uh when you connect, there's this sense of like you can tell that they were alone for a long time too. Like before they woke up,
Yeah.
they were also abandoned for a long time. They were part of this great war that they lost, and they fell between realities, and they were just abandoned for lifetimes. So they connect to you on that level before they were finally able to come through to the rift into this world. And so the first key you're going to get, so this is like the clue mystery section. I'm going to refer to my what I have here. You know that uh, Apostle Solar is very concerned because Asterio, their pilot, has had false memories implanted into them. And so they've been trying to like undo that damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the Halima is worried that this is happening to other pilots,
Okay.
that there are false memories. Okay, so what?
That is definitely something to worry about. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems bad.
Yeah. So I'm going to write that down in the keys. So it's our first clue. Yay. Okay. So Apostle Solar knows their pilot had false memories implanted. They're worried the other pilots may have had something similar happen to them. So there.
Jimmy,
Mhm.
awesome. How would we normally? I'm assuming that there's a basic move for it. How would we normally get the keys?
Yeah, so you can get it through any means, but the main move to get it consistently is through the basic move of grasping keys.
Got
So
it.
I actually forgot to mention this. If you wanted to punch the monster to get a key to fall out of it, you could have done that. Um, I have done it. The summon usually does that, like punch until a key comes out. Um, so I forgot to mention that I was so wrapped up in the action, so that's my bad.
Oh, it's all good.
But yeah, so basically, when you search for a clue, investigate the signs of the apocalypse, or use your powers of darkness to gather information, which can include punching or anything that you think your powers could be used for. You gain a key usually, like unless you get a 7-, then you'll have to mark doom in order to get the key.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think I'm happy to keep it as is, but I think that's actually probably I missed that. I think that's probably actually what Ember should have been doing with asking questions to her mom, like what's going on here. 'Cause her mom was
Oh,
like the
you know
source
what?
of it.
Yeah, you
And-
know what? We can have you roll. Like maybe like we can say like you're starting to put together what she said.
Mhm. Does that,
Um,
I mean, I'm happy to wait a little bit, but I was just thinking, like, I mean, I was using my powers of darkness to gather information, basically communing at home,
exactly.
to
Yeah,
ask
that's right.
Mama. So okay, I'll do
Perfect.
that in a little
Perfect.
bit. I think
Yeah.
Ember can be thinking about what
Yeah.
her mom's saying.
Yeah.
What that means.
Yeah, I admit, like I'm purposely like I should have done that too, but I'm purposely slowing down because like the last script I had, we got like 6 clues in one session. Like we were going so fast.
Right.
Wow.
that 2 of the other players were like, "What's happening?" There's so much. So like I'm going back and forth on like the pace, but we can come back. Let's check in on Celine
Mhm.
and what she wants to do, and then Ember can do I just realized what my mother said, blah blah blah. I'd love that. So, but Celine, you see this Halima. Like I'm just gonna run through the rest of the move. Like as Apostle Solar starts to calm down, they let go of the tube. The pilot's pod is pulled out safely, and you can see like Apostle Solar covers their face with all of their cute little like spider legs. Okay, I say they're cute, but I know that's not true for everybody. Anyway, covers their face, and they sort of go into this fetal position into the vat. All of the monsters have done that, and you can see them go into this deep sleep. And Celine is very reminiscent of the sleep that the monster is going through, like underneath the volcano, like under the island. But all of the Halima go to sleep. You can see there's several vats. You have a feeling that there's supposed to be more Halima, but there are
Mm-hmm.
only 3 active. There are at least another 7, but they're all empty. One of them still has liquid in it, but the rest are all like bone dry. But yeah, and I will say what also draws your attention, Celine and everybody else, is that above all of this, there's this huge heart that's just pumping away, like very softly, very gently. Like it was sort of pumping a little faster when the Halima was about to lose it, but then now it's going back to this soft, steady beat, and it's radiating like these pulses through the entire outpost. But yeah, but Celine, what do you do?
I think she's taking it all in at first. Just seeing how things going. Was also a little worried about all that, overwhelmed with her own feelings of seeing herself through a memory as well. So I think she's recovering from that, and because I look at Sib, be like, what what was that?
Sorry, you weren't supposed to see that.
Oh, okay. And just sort of straightens up and shakes it off and keeps thinking about the priestess. And is the Fletcher still here, Commander?
Yeah, the commander, you could see like he was about to run towards Apostle Solar, like in case things really went to shit. But seeing that everything is calm, is moving back towards you and looks straight at you. Civ, thank you for helping out. I know it was you.
Sure.
But then he looks towards you, Celine.
Yeah, because she has like this questioning look on her face. She's like, all the priests, the priestesses, and all them that are up on the volcano. Who are they? What are they attached to?
Oh, yes, they all work for Mysterious. They're part of the psionics division. In fact, and he turns to the side, I'd like to introduce you to our high priestess, Celine Nakahara. And he like motions and he looks at the two of you, and there's a moment of like, I've been doing this too long to know that this is a coincidence. Like that's what his face says. Like this cannot just be a coincidence. But Celine steps forward. They have these robes, but they're kind of futuristic looking, like a little modern. But they flow around the waist down towards their feet, and they have this like circlet. Right, you can see that you've seen the other priests and priestesses. That's the only thing that's separating uh, Celine from the rest. They have that circlet that denotes that they're a high priestess. And she bows low to you and she says, when my mother spoke of the prophecy, perhaps I should have had more faith. I'm glad that you're here.
There's emotions and feelings going through Celine right now, being like, and she's like, prophecy?
Yes, as the goddess, that's where they took my name from. I was named after the goddess Celine. But I did not think we would share the same face, she says, looking straight at you.
Yeah, it's like looking in a mirror. And Celine's like, who, why How? Okay, I think I am taking some more
That
tokens.
move. Okay, we're taking.
But however, I'm now at 6.
Okay.
Tokens.
Oh, are we going to corrupt your soul? I like
Maybe?
that. Yeah.
I mean,
You
Okay.
say that
I
like it's a
just-
bad thing.
I feel it's really appropriate for this moment, actually, now that I think about it. So,
Yeah.
if you have 5 or more tokens of darkness in front of you, the keeper of the doors will ask you, what does the darkness demand of you in this moment? How will it compromise your fellow monsters and your mission? So, I'm looking at what the darkness demands of you, and to never fall in love and to erase humanity itself. Right. So, in this moment, what does that look like?
I think there's like a sinister whisper like floating through her head saying there only could be one. And like it's just echoing and like light and like coming from different directions, and it's just the different volumes just saying there only could be one. There only could be one. Like, just all around.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we roll +3 darkness and see if we're able to. So if you hit a 7 minus, you're barely able to hold yourself together. And an 8 to 10, something stirs and awakens. And an 11 plus, you can't hold back. So, but you have to roll at a mandatory +3.
Okay.
What? Where's the move?
Oh, it's under situational move because
Situation.
normally this doesn't happen very often. So, so I'm glad we're doing it today.
Corrupt your soul. There we go. Okay, good. If I remember this.
So it's 2d6 then +3.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so that would be 7 on the dice, and then +3 is the 10.
Nice.
Okay, so we hit a 10. Oh, not so bad. Yeah, not so bad. On an 8 to 10, something in you stirs and awakens. I will say you can use bonds to try to control this, like your memories of other people and your friendships can pull it down if you want. But if it stands at this result, mark a condition or doom to keep control. I assume this means to not, do something to make sure you're the only one.
I was gonna say you have to cut off her head, right? Like there can be only one, right? It's just
Yeah.
Or you do as you said you would. So those are our 2 options. What do you do?
I think I will take another Doom track.
Perfect.
So now I have 2 on my Doom track.
Nice. And so as that happens, is there any outward appearance of this, or is it just pure like calm on the outside for everybody else?
I think there is a slight wave of the glow and the pulsating. Like, it's just, if you're looking at like, it's like almost like an aura in a way. If you're looking at someone, you like see an aura, and it's just like pulsating and it's vibrating really fast, and it looks like it's almost like blurring her image a bit. And then just a deep breath, because she closed her eyes because she knew it was going to happen. Like, she was feeling herself get upset, and then all of a sudden it just slows down and then just fades away.
And then that's when, at that exact moment, that's when the high priestess comes over to you, and she clasps, her hands around yours in this really overfamiliar fashion, and she says, "It's as the prophecy will say, you'll be the one to close the rift forever. We've been praying for this for generations. The rift has always just been waiting to open when they opened it years ago, but it was always there, this tear in the world, ever since that sacrifice." And she says, "Please, you're here. It means I know you'll be able to find my sister." And then that's when Commander Payne says, "Yes, it's Celine's sister, that the pilot that's gone missing, Luna Nakahara." All right, so I'm going to write that down in the NPC tab.
Nice.
Luna Nakahara, pilot, and Halimao have gone missing. And so you realize that you're talking to the sister. And I mean, there is the dossier if you want, but she doesn't look like you. right? In fact, you notice that Celine doesn't look like her sister very much, if you think about it.
I think Celine's gonna like after being classed, she's just gonna like move her hands away from her and be like, "Excuse me," and just like walk past her and through the base. Like just keeps on moving. Like
Right.
she actually doesn't even know where she's going. She just has to get away.
But she's just like, I'm getting out of here. I love it.
Yeah, and you can see like the high priestess, like Civ, you can pick up the sense of like, did I do something wrong? Like there's this kind of, but there's also this thought of like, well, it is not me to understand the ways of the goddess. And so the commander looks towards Celine and says, "Oh, yes, of course, we can go straight to my office if you like." Like he assumed that's where you were headed, like, and it's in the general direction. And so he waves over and he says, "Celine," and then you can see it on his face also, like, "Oh, I realized they have the same name." And he says, "High Priestess Nakahara, you can attend to your duties first. I'm sure there's a lot you have to do. We'll talk later." And she nods and she leans over to whisper something. And Civ, you can pick up what it is because, telepathic. You can pick up her saying, "Please, the dreams have been getting worse. I don't think we have much time. She's been missing for too long." And the commander says, "Don't worry. With the division here, I'm sure we'll finally be able to break through." And he's comforting her, and I'll say, like, you realize it's the same way that you comforted him all those years ago. Like he's learned how to comfort other people through
so
that. But yeah, so he lays a hand, very gentle with her, and he tells her that he'll talk to her later. Then he motions you towards the office. So the office is near the command deck. The command deck is like covered in these like huge screens all over the place. So Celine, even though you were just trying to walk off, like all these people are like, "Oh yes, of course, we'll bring you to the office." Like they're being overly helpful. Like, "Yes, that's where you wanted to go, of course." They're pulling you towards where the office is, and it gets closer and closer to the huge heart. And then that's when you hear, and this is going to be the perfect time for you to try to grasp a key. Ember, you hear your mother's voice come through. "I can sense you're close, darling. You're doing even better than I thought you would." And you realize she's talking about the huge heart that's thumping on top of the outpost. And when I say huge, I mean it's like about 3-4 stories, right? Like that's the size of the heart.
So I was sort of speculating that perhaps we were inside the big old beast that's at the base of the mountain, and this was its heart beating. Does that sort of track?
Well, she did say that it was connected to the Halimau,
right,
of Fletcher, right? So the one that's under the island's even bigger than this.
Right. Okay. So this is Titanic, and I was like, maybe that's the heart of the beast. And then when I realized, like, oh, that's what you want, mother, and it realizes like that's the Halimo, and that the beast underneath is like even, orders of magnitude larger. There's just like a Neo, like, whoa moment of looking at, like, looking at the ground, like imagining what's beneath us all. Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, grasp some keys, see what your mom is up to.
Grasp at some keys, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I see this as you just trying to, like, all these years trying to make sense of what your mother says in her riddles, like, because she's not correct.
Well, I mean, I think if it's okay to like bring Fletcher into this.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because like clearly he used to be a pilot and whatnot. I think when we, I pass by and I kind of look over my shoulder, and when we get to the command center, I imagine the heart is still visible from outside. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah.
And I say to Fletcher, I say, when you were a pilot, you piloted a Halimo. that we're still inside of now? She asks sort of questioningly.
Right. And so as you ask that question, Civ, because of your connection with Fletcher, you can see the memories playing out in his head uh, of him as a teen. He was in the pilot, in the capsule. You can, and so this is happening, like you're seeing the visuals while Fletcher is saying out loud what happened. Fletcher looks at the heart and looks back, and you can tell this is difficult for him to say, but he senses it might be important.
Because of course Ember just like asks the most point blank directed, like, so tell me about your childhood trauma question, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. And
I think my mother can hear everything he's saying. This is not good, but like I think like this is the conduit. This is like my part of the promise, at least, is that like my mother directed me here. And it's almost like you can see within my eyes, like many other smaller eyes sort of forming as she hears this. It's not something I think Ember is attempting to make happen. It's just a truth, just a truism.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Fletcher says, it happened years ago. I was fighting with my Halima, Electra Rogue, and it wasn't going well. At the time, I was the only pilot. It was just me. Everybody else had fallen. And he sighs. And you can see, like, Civ, in your mind, like all the other Halimas, like how they fell in battle, how horrible it was. This monster was like huge. It was like way bigger than the rest. And it only got that big because it had fed on the other Halima. Like it had gained power through that way. It wasn't originally that big when it came through the rift. And this other monster, it's huge and strong. Like it's got several arms and these like bat-like wings that are coming out of the back. And Electra Rogue looks so different. Like she's completely sleek, like her skin is like an oil spill, several eyes on the face, those tiny wings along the side is kind of reminiscent of the queen of Ember's mother, but Ember can't see this. Only Civ can see this part of what Electra actually looked like. And so you can see they're brushed up against this the land, like they're fighting off the coast of the Philippines. The monster is trying to get towards Manila City, and you can see that Electra Rogue is doing all she can to push back against the monster, but she's losing the fight. Like limbs are being torn off, and then so you hear Electra Rogue say, "It'll be okay. No matter what happens, you're going to be safe." And she pulls out the capsule where the pilot is, and she throws it as far as she can. And you can see that she starts to go into supernova mode to completely destroy the monster. But the only thing that was left was her heart, and it refused to die. Like it just kept beating all this time. And that's what's above the outpost right now. And so Fletcher describes this, and he says, "She protected me. I didn't ask her to do it, but I have to honor that sacrifice. But the heart, we try to bring it outside of here. It won't leave the outpost. Anytime we try to do so, it starts to send off painful psychic visions of what happened during that battle." So, and you can see he smiles a little. "It means little for me to tell you what happened. Everyone here knows. We've tried several times to take the heart out, and we've been unable to. She won't leave me," he says. And so I'm going to put that as a key, that Electra Rogue is a Halima, refused to completely die, protected her pilot, Fletcher Payne. But yeah.
Nice.
But there. And so you hear your mother's voice. "I need that power, that loyalty. Can you imagine if we had that, dear daughter, what we could do with it? The way that we could subjugate several worlds, all the dimensions, out of love and obsession with us."
I look still sort of channeling my mother, and I say, Fletcher, do you believe that Electro Rogue loved you and that saved you because of that love?
And he looks at you and he says, yes, I know she did.
And I sort of close my eyes, and I'm like I'm like forcibly like pushing my mother away, and I don't say this out loud, but Civ can hear it, which is, mother, that is why you will never have it, because that sacrifice was made from love, which you cannot control. And like, I think when she opens her eyes again, like, it's just her eyes. It's not like, it's like she's like sort of pushed her mom back, which is essentially saying, nah, mom, not gonna do it. But you know, wouldn't work for you if it did. But I think, you know, just to remove the mystery around it, you know, Ember says, my mother wants Electro Rogue's heart. I will not deliver it to her, even if I could.
And the commander stops, your mother, and you realize like the dossier that they get, they don't like detail too much of those things. And he says, I feel like the longer we hang out, the more questions we have of each other, he says.
It's just best to know that she probably should not have it. Worlds would be in peril.
Right, worlds with an S. Yes, I had a feeling. All right.
Right. I think Ember sits down because this is clearly like Celine's. This island is very clearly associated with Celine, and like you came in here, so she sits down, but she's just like can't take her eyes off the heart. Right? She's like, I'm sure Celine will know what to do. You're a leader. You're the boss. You'll figure this out. I'm just gonna fixate on this heart for a good long couple hours or so. You know, no big deal. As I just stare at it, unblinking.
Yeah. And I think at this moment, this is when Commander Fletcher Payne is going to launch into the premise of like what's going on, what happens to the pilot. But I think I want to save that for the next session, so that's fresh in our minds as we tackle it. But I'm going to say what it looks like as you sit down, the office around you comes to life. You can see all the screens start to flicker. It goes completely dark. It's just the outline of Fletcher's face. And you can clearly see the part of the arm that's all steel now. And you realize now that it's probably from what happened. Like, even though Electro Rogue had tried to protect him, the injury meant that it cost his arm in the process. But he stands in front of you and he says, her name is Luna Nakahara, and her Halimao is Hydra Omicron. This is what happened. And then that's where we're going to end the episode on that note. Unless someone wants to do a little thing for their character before we go.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm sure some of the hours, Civis will stand and stare at the heart because I don't understand what's going on. So I'm just like, are we guarding it? Are we watching it? Like, I don't know. But I just stand next to you and stare at it for a while, and then I probably just wander off at some point.
Nice.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It feels like a mixture of, to me, that moment of standing there together looking out feels like a weird mixture of like staring at a sunset and staring at somebody in a hospital bed, like waiting for some, waiting as somebody bust out somebody in the hospital, and also like looking at, that's the sort of twin images of us by each other that come to mind for me, at least.
It's so true. I feel like that's very true. But yeah, okay. So with our remaining time, I'd love to hear everybody's stars and wishes, so that we'll know what to focus on for the next session.
Sorry, Jimmy. I just wanted to check. Morgan, did you have anything? Did you have any denouement? Anything that you wanted?
No, I was just getting an itch. Also, I was looking. Are we doing the end of session things too? Or?
Yes, I was about to do that. I forgot.
Okay.
I just ran Apocalypse Keys yesterday. I also forgot. I'm so sorry, internet. Okay, so we're doing end of session. Here we are.
End of session.
Situational moves.
Got it.
Next to our hello little monster. So we answer the following for every yes. We mark 1 XP. And then the second section is answer the following for every no. You may choose to mark doom. So once again, this is voluntary doom wise compared to XP. So the first question for XP is, did you express your monstrous nature or your humanity? I feel like everybody did that quite well. We saw everybody's powers on display. We saw a lot of confusion and struggle emotionally, right? But what do you think for Celine Morgan?
Yep.
Correct.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That is also true. Yes.
Okay, how about for Ember?
Oh yeah, I think fighting the sign of the void, but more importantly, communing with my mother, and all those eyes within my own eyes, and the butterfly kisses. Yep, that's monstrous. That's her monstrous nature.
Good stuff, good stuff. And how about for Civ?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I especially like that relationship between you and Fletcher. That's very cool to me.
Me too.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So yeah, so everybody mark 1 XP for that. Our second question is, did you learn something significant about yourself or your impending doom? I feel like Celine did. You
Apparently, I
learned someone's
prophesized to throw myself in the volcano again. Maybe.
There's something going on there. Yeah, absolutely.
and there's someone walking around with your face. So yeah,
Yeah,
you know, you
yeah.
learned something. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. For sure. How about for Ember? Do you feel like you learned something about significant about yourself or your impending doom?
Oh yeah, I mean, the darkest demands that I push away those that I want, and that I fall in love with the darkness. And I think, you know, we said that Ember was on the Rumspringa of demon princess, you know, demon princes, and she sort of thought that her mother was giving her some time to like find herself, and the answer is that clearly she is not. Her mother is not going to stop interfering with her life. Her mother is going to keep trying to lure her back in, and it's not a passive pull towards the throne. It's an active recruitment that her mom's going to keep jabbing at her.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely an XP for that. And how about for Civ?
Yeah, I think I learned that like the sort of care or empathy that I brought to Fletcher back in his dreams as a teen, like he carried that through his life, and I don't know that I've seen that before ever, and it's like, I really did have a tangible effect on him.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, like for you, I kind of imagine, right, for Civ, who was like under the water, like time didn't really flow the same way for other people, right? Like it did for you. But now here you get to see it,
Yeah.
right? That's very cool. Yeah, so that's also an XP. And then our last question for XP is, did you learn something significant about a fellow monster, right? So this could be like a monster that's like part of the division group, but it could also be like any other monster you came across if you feel like you learned something significant. So how about for Celine?
I learned that there was a monster underneath the island.
Yeah.
That's like a
Super
big, like
A big,
a big boy.
Big boy, big sleeping boy. It's chunky. I'm gonna say that they're chunky.
Chunk.
Like they're huge and they're like, you know, like how Godzilla is so extra chunky in King of Monsters. I love how chunky Godzilla is. Like so cute and scary.
They're small boys.
Yeah.
Monster.
Yeah. Very cool. And how about Ember? Did you learn something significant about the fellow monster?
I did, and I actually that makes me think I want to add a tiny bit of element to that moment while we're staying together for a long time. If it's okay, I'm gonna sort of retcon this a little bit, and I think Ember's like says, I had well, after we've been sitting together for a long time, and she says, I'm sorry you were alone for so long under the sea. And because I mean, being tempted by a horrible, evil demon queen is bad, but it's still not being alone, right? So yeah, I was particularly affected by sharing that memory with Civ of waking and being alone, and then being found, and that was a cool little flashback, origin story for Civ that was neat to experience firsthand.
Awesome. And how about for Civ? Do you feel like you learned something significant?
I think the thing that there's sort of two things that were significant to me was how Aurora was like hey, I think my pilot had memories implanted, and that sort of demonstrated to me a sophistication of thought that I wasn't previously aware that they possessed. And then sort of as an extension with that, like Electra Rogue, like saving Fletcher and like sacrificing herself. um yeah, so I think the Halimaus are a different type of monster than I originally thought they were.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because like you connected to the other one, the Void monster one, and
Yeah.
it did not feel like that at all,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
like it didn't feel like they were capable of compassion or anything like that. But yeah, very cool. Okay, so that's also an XP. All right, so my favorite, I had to add this because all my players were like, I need to earn more Doom, please. So this is it.
Boom.
Give me more. So the first question is, did you uncover at least one key of the apocalypse or attempt to open Doom's door? So if you answered yes to this, that means, you don't have to. So the only one who didn't try to uncover a key of the apocalypse, even though they found that information, right, is Celine, I think, right? Because Sev got that key through the Halima connection and Ember got it through meddling mob. So Celine, do you want to mark Doom for it?
Why not?
Yeah, let's go down that path.
Oh, Furby, no. Okay, you
Yeah.
did not do that. Okay.
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. And once again, this is voluntary, right? Like compared to the XP stuff. And then the second question is, did you completely deny what the darkness demands of you? So I think we're going to start with Celine again because the darkness demand that there can only be one of you.
And I did deny it.
You did deny it, so good job.
I will take another one.
Oh, no, if you didn't
Oh.
deny it, you can take it.
Okay, that's right.
But I
I
will say
misread it.
that no problem. But I did put the word completely. I did do that on purpose to give people wiggle room so they could say, but I did want it. I denied it, but I wanted it. In
Deep
case
down
you
I
want to do
did.
that. Yeah, in case you want to do that.
Yeah, it's fine. I will not take that one then.
No worries. And then let's see who else had to deal with what the darkness demands today.
Ember had all sorts of wants from
Yeah. Do you feel like you did say sort of yes to her at first.
I not only did I say sort of yes, but I also like let her see the heart, and I let her see through
That's
my
true.
eyes to hear the answers. Like
That's true.
I basically let her see until I'd made my decision. Like I was keeping the channel open until she was like, "Oh, that's what I want." And I was like, "Okay, now that I know what it is you want, I've given you those." So yeah, I don't think
Hanging
I said
up the
no.
phone.
Yeah, exactly. I kept. So I don't take one for that because I gave her quite a bit of what she wanted.
Yeah.
I showed her where the thing that she saw it was.
Very cool. Yeah, and I don't think Civ didn't really get super tempted.
Nope.
This session. We can work on that next time, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, and then but no one, I think no one was able to reach for the light with someone this session, which is like the bonding move, the connecting. And I think it makes sense because everybody was like caught up in their own stuff, like starting up, like Celine was caught up in like, oh my gosh, this island stuff, and Ember's like, oh my gosh, this mom stuff. And Civ is like overwhelmed by everyone's psychicness in the psychic island.
There's a lot going on. Lost region.
So if anybody wants to take a Doom for that, for being unable to like connect to each other like as much as you'd like, please feel free. Is anyone gonna take the Doom?
I will.
I did.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
I'm at 4 of 5.
Oh, nice. And the Doom moves are great. You at least want one, to be honest, because like they're super fun.
Very cool.
The Pure has some really great ones. But yeah. Oh, but you can also choose from any playbook. There are a few options to do that. But yeah. Okay, so we did our end of session. I did it properly this time. I know we're slightly over time, but do we have a little time to do stars and wishes, or if that's okay? Super quick, because I know it's late. I mean, it's lunchtime here in Manila, but but everybody else has to sleep. So let's just make it super quick. Let's go in character keeper order. Sean, what are your stars and wishes?
Oh, wow. I mean, I love that Morgan, I love that Celine is so tied into all this world, and that you are having to keep facing yourself over and over again in multiple forms. Like, I mean, one way that Jamie certainly expected, but another that just came up sort of organically through play, and you also have this pressure from the darkness to eliminate these other threats. I just love that you are clearly like tied to the monster and tied to
I thought I
to-
could escape when they threw me in the first time. Apparently, it made me deeper in this conspiracy.
No, you got to do it. And Jen, I absolutely adore that you get to just like be the internal monologue for all like everyone's characters. Like you
Yeah.
get to be like, oh, cool. So what's going on in your mind? What's going on in your mind? And it's such a fun way to see things that characters clearly wouldn't say, but like we want to say, and we're like, how do I convey this thing that I'm thinking? And the great thing is like, oh, Civ hears it. So I think that was delightful. And Jamie, thank you for playing my mom in a horribly despicable, but like utterly irrefutable way.
It's on my Bluebeard's Bride experience.
Yeah.
Coming there.
I felt it. What about you, Morgan?
So I really like Ember's intensity once again. Just it's so good.
Thank you.
But the mom stuff, oh gosh, I can see where you get it from.
I really felt like Ember's intensity turns into petulance when it's around her mother, and I had fun with that. About
Yeah,
being
it
like,
does.
I'm
It's
so
so
mad,
good.
Mom. I'm
It's-
so mad.
Mom, this is my world, Mom. Stay out of it.
It's like this really dark Thor and Odin thing going on.
And then I love Civ because like, you know, like all our characters sort of have like their own like secrets and stuff that we try to keep within. But with Civ, she just hears it all, and it's just like it's up to her to figure out what to do with all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, same. Oh, I forgot to double check. Sean, what are your wishes before we move on to?
Oh,
to
sorry.
Jen?
Yes.
No, it's okay.
I'm just so enamored with stars. I mean, gosh, there's so many things that this game can do. So like, I definitely want to punch big things. That was really fun, and I want to keep doing it. I loved punching big things in here. I definitely also like want to punch things with feelings, because I think like so mad about things, and I also want to. There's so many great moves in this game that's sometimes hard to miss them, but I want to try and reach for the light with Civ in terms of like us. I think maybe even in a retcon way of us, like when we're standing together or something like that. I want to sort of see what it looks like when Ember exposes a little bit of vulnerability. She tries really hard not to, and
Yeah, I can take a note.
and,
We'll do that when we start next
you
session.
know,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Mm.
But I think that she kind of needs to, because she knows she's sort of out of her depths. And also she doesn't know how best to support Celine right now. And so I think that she's going to turn to Civ for that as well, because she wants to like do right by her commander, but also is like, I don't know what the heck Celine needs. And I don't, and asking her isn't the right move either. Like I need to just be there and just do it right. So anyway.
Aw, that's so cute. I really like that. And how about Morgan? What are your wishes?
Oh, wishes. I think I kind of want personally just to like have Celine be thrusted, like the prophecy just be shown to her of some sort of way, like the actual like step by steps. These are the directions, because you know how prophecies are all like whimsical and vagueness and all that stuff. I really want to see Civ's fall to darkness, or at least like just a little bit. I really want to see how that looks. Like I'm excited to see where that goes. So
Yeah. Actually, it's always so far with the Found. It's always like the sudden turn into darkness compared to everybody that's like,
I'm fine. I
And
will
then
murder you.
like it's happened twice with my two Founds so far. One of them, like they had to drop out of the game, but the character took a real dark turn. The other time, the character just really went full on dark very quickly. And it was so funny because the group was so used to having someone there to talk through their feelings and go through the internal monologue, and suddenly that person's gone. Anyway, but yeah, looking forward. That's a good point. I like that.
Well, and I think that it's really cool that we have delayed the dark, your darkness a little bit, Jen, because what the darkness demands of you is to meet your cruel maker. And I think showing how you've been alone, how this time how you were made and you had no one with you, like we're getting to know a little bit about your cruel maker via the things you've had to go through. So I like having a sense of like who Dr. Soon was before Data tried to meet him, you know, and all of his imperfections. Yeah. So I think it's cool that we're
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, and then so Morgan, did you want to add any other wishes?
I really want to see Ember just go full on out as well.
Supernova on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to have a pure and a summon go all out together. That's gonna be.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what 11 pluses look like when they do that as well. Like I was like trying this session. I was like, please maximum darkness tokens. I'm going to spend it. I want to see what an 11 plus looks like. I want to go overboard, and didn't happen, but that's okay. It's a good setup for it to happen next time.
I've seen it happen once where someone used their bonds to hit the 11 plus on purpose. Oh. Like their relationships overwhelmed them. So yeah, I'm just gonna put that out there. You know.
Thank you. I didn't think of that. That makes sense. Yeah. Spend your bonds to make things go worse. Perfect.
Yeah, because the player was only ever like hitting 8 to 10 all the time, and everybody else was being a disaster, and they were like, "I want to be a disaster too." So so there you go. But yeah.
Jenny, can I have I know this is a bit of like mechanical advantage, but I think it makes sense. Can I have a bond with my mom?
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that. Yes, because of all the pain you went through, for sure. I will give that to you. And I think it makes sense for Celine to have one with Celine. I'm gonna be honest.
I suppose.
I made the character first, and I originally named her Celine. So when you pick Celine, I thought, oh, I should change the name of the character. And I thought, you know what?
But what if?
I'm gonna double down on this
and just go all out. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, go ahead and take a bond and Celine. Yeah, very cool. Okay, and then of course, Jen, I'd love to hear your stars or wishes.
Yeah, a lot. I really enjoyed the session. I super loved Ember trying to smash her sword into the obsidian throne, and she knew it was futile. But it was and Sean said tantrum, and I'm like, yes, correct. Love it. I loved just like the comic book moment of Celine like gracefully touching down and then giving me that contrast of just being like, boom. I love that. It was like a gift. I'm really into the Halimos. Yeah, I super love that I knew Fletcher and that he didn't think I was real. It was very good.
That was so cool.
Can you imagine poor Fletcher? Like, I was just convinced.
Right?
That you were dreaming.
He must have really not reviewed that paperwork that he got. He just thought the division were sending like rando agents.
Yeah. And I kind of like the idea, like, oh, there was a name and there's a statue, but it's not like, I wonder if in his dreams you look different to him.
Oh, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
And I kind of also like the idea, like, I imagine him going to a psychiatrist, because I want to believe all the teens have psychiatrists, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the psychiatrist is like, well, you know, our subconscious creates people who comfort us. Like, yeah. But yeah, just hilarious. I love that so much. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then for wishes, I want to walk in the dreams of Luna. I think that would be super cool. And I also really want to use my power absorption to borrow and or steal powers briefly and see what sort of disaster that starts.
I mean, there's so many powers around, right? There's all the Halimo. Yeah. There's the mega Halimo that we're inside of. There's the mega Halimo that we're on top of.
There's the tentacle, just
right. There's the sign of the
forest.
Abyss, yeah. And then there's all of us, right? You know.
Right.
Yeah, we can definitely have a longer combat scene. I think that'll be super fun, so that we can see everybody let loose and we can see Civ absorb stuff. That's going to be awesome. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I'm so glad we're doing this adventure. I'm so excited. But yeah, so thank you so much, everybody. Oh, my own stars and wishes very quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what
Uh,
about you?
Yeah. I'm just so happy. So like, my big stars. I really like how we're all coming together. Our stories are overlapping in a really fun way. I honestly almost cried when I was describing the connection between Fletcher and Civ a lot. It was very sweet to me. I really like that. And I really love seeing Celine struggle with like this whole like, oh, there's someone who looks like me. It's like, oh, they have the same name as me, and like, oh, I'm part of a prophecy to them. Like, just I really loved seeing Celine go through that. That was very cool. I loved playing Ember's mom. I had too much fun. I think it was obvious. I had a really fun. I love playing horrible moms in Bluebeard's Bride. It's one of my favorite things. When I play the mother, it's very scary. I also enjoy doing that. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I'm really excited to see. I love when Civ chose to reach out to the Halima. I thought that was really sweet to help. And even though it could have gone catastrophically wrong, I really did. I loved how that moment bloomed. And Jen, when you said, "Oh, everyone sees the memories," that's what happens when I burn the bonds. I was like, "Oh, that's so good, really good stuff." So really great character play from everybody. I was super happy about that. My wish is to have more kaiju fights. That was really cool. I kept saying, "Okay, we have to get to the mystery. I can't let this go on too long." But this is a lot of fun, so I can't wait to let loose next time. You can punch out clues, out of the monsters, so it'll be
Right.
okay.
Yeah, we can definitely wrestle a monster into telling us what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fun of, because I got this system from Brindlewood Bay, so usually it's just like it's these elderly ladies getting info. But I've had a few elderly ladies punch out the information. But the fun thing about Apocalypse Keys is there's so many ways, and then you can recontextualize the clues or the keys in lots of different ways. So that's super fun for me as a GM. Like it's really fun. But yeah, so I'm so glad we're playing this. My wish is just to get into a huge kaiju fight and then meet the pilots. I'm super excited for everybody to meet the pilots and take care of these teens or help these. I'm kind of excited to see what Ember is going to be like around these teenagers.
It's funny because my first thought was like going up to Astario and be like, "Why are you so bad at your job?" Right? Like that was
yeah,
my very,
exactly.
very first.
We should do that. We should do that.
And I know from context from what happened with Jen, like a little more about what's going on. But I don't think Ember does. So yeah,
exactly.
I'm pretty ready for her to be like, how did you possibly get into this position if you can't, if you're so bad. So
yeah, exactly. 100%. That's gonna be super cool. But yeah, so that's it. Those are my stars and wishes. Thank you so much, everybody. And for everybody who's watching, thank you so much. I hope you had a good time. This was a great group. Really good session today, I think.
Yeah, so good. Let's all just do a real quick outros, and then so we can put out some links if anybody wants them. I'm Sean. I use he him pronouns. You can find me everywhere at Sean Nittner. My game Agon is coming out tomorrow. My game is technically out in Jamie's time zone, but yes, it is. It will be available on the Evil Hat website. And I did not know a thing until today because I wasn't 100% sure of it. But two other cool things are going to happen. One, if you're international and you couldn't get a copy of it because we're only shipping locally, tomorrow we'll be releasing the print-on-demand version through DriveThru. And two, everybody who buys the game will also get all of the stretch goals. So we have in the past only offered stretch goals to Kickstarter backers. All the stretch goals are going to come with the book download. You're going to get the PDFs of all of the additional islands, the 8 extra islands. So you will not get 12 islands, you will get 20 islands, and a bunch of them made by really, really rad people. So
And one of
Ooh.
them is a mantis shrimp.
one of them is a mantis shrimp. Yes, Jen gave me the idea. Jen told me about mantis shrimp, and then I had to make a game about a sad, lonely shrimp. He's just a shrimp, and he just loves
Aw.
friends.
So cute.
Just a
Lonely
sad,
shrimp.
murderous shrimp.
He's so murderous, though. Don't mess with it. He's
Don't let the colorful crustacean deceive you.
yeah, he will
So cute.
super sink your ship.
Oh my god.
How about you, Jen?
I'm Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at 10penjen. I don't actually think I have anything to plug. I'm real excited about Agon because I just backed the PDF and now I have to get your beautiful book. So yeah, what about you, Morgan?
Yeah, my name's Morgan. Use they, them, and she, her pronouns interchangeably. You can find me on all the socials at Serena Bezos. I do podcast work with Powered by Players, with the Red Death, with basically the Roleplay Network. I'm pretty much there. I live there. It is now a home. And with Utopia TV on Twitch, which is Utopia with a Connie Quest stream. I do various other things. Just follow me. You'll see these things. Jamie, what are you working on now, Jamie?
Well, I'm working on Apocalypse Keys. I'm working on. Ooh, yeah. Now that I think about it, there are a lot of games that I'm actively working on. But I'm doing better. I'm really doing better. So you can keep up with me at Twitter at TemporalHiccup. You can also find my games at temporalhiccup.itch.io. But right now, my patrons get to see all the active stuff that I'm working on. So I'm working on a game about devil butlers at a butler cafe. They used to be demon lords, now they're butlers. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing. Lots of other things. I'm also on the Gauntlet podcast. Like you can find that on any podcast catcher. You just hear me like geeking out about games, basically with people. Like I was talking about TTRPGs. But that's it. Yeah, that's me. I'll see you online.
Awesome. Okay, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Chat, it was great seeing all of you. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks, but there'll be more games before then on the channel, so please stop by. Take care.